A very good evening. It's Shauna here from Storani Careers. For those of you who've worked with me before, you'll know that I'm a career consultant and operations manager here at Storani Careers. And for those of you who I haven't worked with yet, hello, how are you? Thank you to everyone who is tuning in this evening. This is going to be a quick live this evening. It's really just an opportunity to reach out and discuss with you a little bit about one of the new offerings that we have for all of our clients going forward. Now, at Storani Careers, we do strive to be ahead of best practices, to be ensuring that we're providing our clients with the most updated information and best practices and tips to keep you ahead of your competition within the job hunting world, which we all know is incredibly competitive. So going forward, we are going to be offering a new addition on all of our service packages that include a consultation. So that will be, for instance, our fast track consulting, our elite consulting, and indeed our service, which is our all-in-one plus a 30-minute call, which is really a 30-minute call to align your experience, your objective, and to give you a brief overview as to what you can expect from your service package. With all of these services, we are now going to be offering our clients an additional secondary template. So a secondary template really is a styled version of your CV. There's going to be particular clients that this is going to be very interesting for, but as a general overview, it's going to be an amazing additional tool to have in your itinerary when job searching. So typically our clients always will receive our best practice template. This is a template that is tried and tested within the market. It is operational through ATS systems. ATS systems are applicant tracking softwares, and they're basically the technology that recruiters, hiring managers, human resources, talent acquisition specialists will use for sourcing their talent, for databasing interesting CVs. And of course, it's one of the trickiest things that you have to pass through for recruiters to reach out to you. So it's really important that the document that you provide and that you send in your application is a CV that is ATS optimized or aligned. So our best practice template, a standard, is exactly that. So we can assure you that it is built in such a way that it really easily flows through those very tricky ATS systems. And then, of course, we ensure that it is content and keyword optimized for you as well, to really make sure that we're giving you the best possible chance of being found. Now, our template, like I said, is tried and tested, and our clients across multiple industries, from pharma to tech, to legal, to design, to architecture, they get really good success with their CVs. But we trialed something back in, I believe it was September of last year. It was a promotion where we were offering a complimentary second template CV. And we tested the water with it to see what was the feedback from the client, and indeed what was the feedback from industry. So were our clients having success with it? Were they enjoying using it? What did recruiters think of it? And indeed, we found that the secondary, more styled template was something that was interesting to both recruiter and client alike. So what is a secondary styled template? So as I said, our traditional template is a corporate flowing document, typically between 2 to 3 pages in length, vertically flowing text, void of any headers or footers or complicated text boxes, which are notorious for distorting the ATS system. So it is a very corporate text-only document. Now, it's incredibly efficient, as mentioned, for ATS, but we found that when we were talking to certain professionals, they wanted something that had a little bit more pizzazz, a little bit more finesse in terms of how it was looking. And so this new secondary template that we're going to be offering going forward is exactly that. It is a more refined, styled template so that you will have two options. You will have a more corporate flowing document, and you will have a more concise, styled option that you can pick and choose depending on the job you're applying for, depending on the company, and depending what you feel best suits the particular opportunity. So in a moment, I'm going to use my own CV just to show you what the difference between those two templates would be. But before I do that, just to give you, I guess, a brief overview as to the kind of professionals that I feel will really benefit from using this particular more styled template. So the obvious ones are going to be, of course, anyone who is in design, because your CV is your first representation within the market. Okay, this is how you set the tone. This is the first impression. And if we're trying to get across the message to a recruiter or talent specialist that design is your area, then your CV is going to speak on your behalf. Now, obviously, we would always tell any design professionals that they should have, in addition to their CV, a complementary portfolio, because what they won't get to show on their CV is their particular individual style. So the portfolio is going to be essential in order to do that. But then just in terms of the CV itself, having something that looks a little bit more polished, a little bit more styled will add extra impact. The other type of professionals that really value from a more styled or creative version of their CV are anyone who is in graphic design, obviously, again, because we're going to be thinking about things like design, typography, and really the overall aesthetic of the document. Similarly, when we think of marketing or PR professionals, where really public relations and branding is super important, so having that more visual representation of your body of work can be impactful. And then looking at things like web designers and developers, and indeed architects and designers. These are all professionals that will classically benefit very much from a more styled version of their CV. Now, of course, it will also benefit accountants, financials, sales, pharma, indeed. But those professionals may find themselves preferring a more data heavy CV, a more content heavy CV that's perhaps less focused on the style and the structure and more looking in on the in-depth content. So just depending on your profile, you'll be able to play with those two options. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you my CV and show you how it looks across the two different templates. And depending on the type of position and the company, I would be then choosing which one I was going to work with going forward. So I'm just going to present, first of all, the more corporate, this would be considered our best practice template, which is a more corporate flowing CV. And here is an example then of my CV. So as you see, we open up there with my name, where I'm living, my email address, my contact telephone number, my LinkedIn profile. Moving into my summary. In this instance, I've also highlighted a selection of my career highlights, which I feel speak first for my profile, that I'd like recruiters to catch their eye. Using, again, Calibri font 11. So between Calibri 10 or 11, Arial, Times New, there's certain fonts and typography and sizing that typically works very well in the document. So for mine here, I've been using Calibri 11. Looking at my education and training, flowing down into my experience, obviously working in reverse chronology with most recent, and then flowing back into more historic. So this is typically the CV structure that we would be looking at, and then closing out with general skills. And this is a 3-page document CV. So that would be my very classic CV. So this works very well as a corporate CV. So if I was applying, for instance, to work within a recruitment consultancy firm and internal talent acquisition, as internal recruitment, this kind of document would work very well, because in this case, I'm trying to really give the weight of the body of my experience in as much detail as I possibly can. So this would typically work quite well for that one. Now, what I'm going to do is show you then the secondary template, which is just something then a little bit more snappy, and I'll explain the instance when this could work particularly well in this case. So let me just show you here. So here would be a sample of the secondary template. So here we're looking at my photograph in the top left-hand corner. We've got my name, my title clearly pinned there as well. We're looking at my profile, a shorter profile and written with slightly less detail. All of personal details are here. Where I'm living, contact information, nationality, and my skills outlined here versus the bottom, which we would have seen on that previous corporate document. So here they're flowing along the right-hand side. For this CV, this one flows across 2 pages. So it is a more short and concise document. So for instance, with this one, I'm focusing solely and only on relevant experience for the position. So I'm looking here at what I'm doing at the moment, which is everything to do with careers consulting, which is where we'll imagine in the hypothetical world I'm looking for a new job, that this is what I'm looking for. So I'm focused very clearly within my area. My other CV, for instance, included other experience I had, which was within sales management. That's less so important for the position I'm going for if I was going with this one. So I'd be removing that and focusing only on projects or routines that are specifically linked. So why would I be doing that? This type of styled version of the CV doesn't work very well across 3 to 4 pages. It looks too long, too heavy. This style of CV, this more resume design, is designed to be quite snappy and to the point. So what we'd be doing with this template is focusing only on specific routines or projects that are relevant to the position you want. We wouldn't be wasting time elaborating on roles or past experiences that are in no way directly linked. Similarly, we may even cut down the amount of routines or duties that we would be listing and focusing more on specific projects or interesting areas for that particular position. So there's a lot less content and it's a lot more to the point. So, as one of the examples I gave earlier, if I was a tech professional, or I was working in creative, this is exactly what someone would want to see. They wouldn't especially need to read all of the long routines of all my career. They'd be much more interested in what exact projects I've been in, what I've been solving within the team, what I've been fixing. If it's been an architect role, then they want my portfolio immediately. They want a visual representation of what I've done. They want the size and scope of the sort of projects I've worked on, the budgets I've had, the manpower that I've managed. So it's a lot more to the point. So both look aesthetically very pleasing for a recruiter. Both are optimized to work through the ATS system. So both of those will pass nicely for you through the ATS system. But one is much more concise, to the point, and more, I guess, specific or project focused. And the other one then is more content when you want to give more weight to your experience. So for instance, financials, accountants, legals, sales, customer service, the more traditional style CV would work really well for those guys. And this will work much more effectively for the more design professional. So that's just to show you what those two CVs look like and when we would be applying them to the market. Both are effective and you're absolutely fine to work with both. Similarly, what we've had some clients do in the past when we offered this as a promotion was that they were using the corporate style CV or the slightly longer version style CV for all of their LinkedIn and Indeed job applications. But then if recruiters were reaching out to them privately and saying, can you please send me the most updated version of your CV? Then they were attaching that PDF and sending it across so that the recruiter had something very, quick and to the point to look at in front of them. So both are effective and both work really well on the job market. So it just depends on the position that you're going for and indeed the company. So for instance, if you see an opportunity, one of the tech companies that they have a much more relaxed approach, and you see people going into work in their jeans, it's a lot more easygoing, and there's more of that kind of like company culture feeling, then that secondary template is probably going to work very well for them, because it's a slightly warmer and less corporate feeling document. So allow your judgment or allow your gut to be your judgment when choosing which version is best for you. But going forward, you will be offered both. We will typically start with the more traditional corporate version because that is where we get the most information from our clients. That's where we gather everything: your daily routines, your achievements, your projects, the core skills that you've been using. And we really use that as your body of work. So that's where we put everything together. And then based off that, we would be selecting the most appropriate pieces of information to then populate across to that secondary template. Again, if you're very project driven, we may only talk about projects and less about routines in that secondary template, but it will be very much on a candidate to candidate, case to case basis, how we will decide how that secondary one looks and feels. But it was really just reaching out to let you know that this will be something that we'll be offering going forward for all of the services purchased. And it really is a great and invaluable offering and tool to have in your job hunting kit. It allows you to open yourself up to roles that you perhaps didn't feel you could before. Maybe you felt that the style of your document wasn't really talking to the feeling of the position or the nature of the company, and you wanted something a little bit fresher to produce. And now you'll have the option of both. Another profile, just before I forget, another profile that it works very, very well for is for interns or graduates or young or junior professionals. And the reason why it typically works quite well is because it is designed to be a more compact version of your profile. So 1 to 2 pages. So if you feel you're a bit nervous producing a very corporate CV that doesn't have a great deal of experience on it, that maybe only has some academic projects, for instance, or some internships, you may feel that the corporate version feels too heavy or too mature of a document for the experience that you have. You may feel intimidated with that. Then that secondary template can work really well because it's designed in such a way that it can be produced as a one-page document, and it can focus more on 2 or 3 core points rather than more elaborated job routines. So it still gives you the opportunity to produce a very polished, well-written document, but that aligns with perhaps a more junior or starter type of profile. So that's another time when it can work exceptionally well. And similarly, if you come from a very academic background where it's been more coursework that you've done, and perhaps, publications, research projects, it can equally work well for that as well, because we can trim it and edit that template to suit the kind of experience that you've held in the back. So that was really just to jump on and share that with you, a very quick live this evening, but just to reach out and let you know that we will be optimizing our services for 2024. That, I guess, is our plan, as it is every year, is to continue to stay not only on top of best practice, but ahead of best practice, to ensure that our clients are going into the market with the strongest possible profile in what is becoming an increasingly competitive and dynamic market. So just to help you really stay abreast of changes that are happening, recruiter expectations, company expectations, and to really give you that edge against your competition. Of course, you can feel free to send questions here if you have any about the template or the service or how it looks. We will still be honoring our very classic 15 working day turnaround for all of our CVs to ensure that all of the product is back to you within 15 working days. Obviously, that excludes weekends, public holidays. And we do depend as well on your communication to really ensure that that 15 working days is honoured, so that we're able to turn it around for you as fast as possible. So that's still included within that, as well as all the usual. Everything is proofread by a native English speaker to ensure that even me as a native English speaker, perhaps typos or mistakes that are made, everything is double checked and referenced to ensure that the documents reach you in perfect condition and that they are ready for market. So this new offering applies, like I said, to all of our consulting packages, with the addition of our all-in-one plus a call, which is a 30-minute alignment call. So this is going to be going forward for clients going forward who purchase as of Friday this week. It will be live on the website. So it's just to let you guys know that that new option is there. And of course, the Storani team is here. If you have any questions at all, we stay up to date with what's happening in the market. We stay up to date with recruiters. We want to know what they look for so that we can produce the best possible product for you, and so that you can go to market giving recruiters what they want to see. So I do hope you find this useful. Like I said, we've had some really great feedback from the last time we ran this promotion. Now this will be a standard going forward. And we've had some great feedback, and we really hope to see great success coming from our clients going out into the market with these two options. So thank you so much for joining me. A very brief live tonight, but it was just to give you the knowledge about that new service offering. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us either on Instagram or directly to info@storanicareers.com. The lovely Susie will be able to help you. And of course, myself and the team are here for any questions that you may have regarding any of our services. And if you're ever not sure, guys, what is the right service for you? I know logging onto the website, some people, they're not sure what they feel is the best fit for them. If you have any doubt whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to Susie, and Susie will always then pass along your CV to myself and my team members, where we will review it and we will give our honest feedback and say, look, I think for this client, this service suits, or I think maybe they need this, or they're not sure what they want, so they'll benefit from a consultation. So we'll always direct you in the right way. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have any doubts or questions. We're always delighted to help. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in this evening. I know that there are some lives scheduled for the rest of the week, so no doubt you'll see Tana's face on here later on in the week. But it's been lovely speaking with you this evening. Have a great evening. And yeah, we hope to work with you in the future.